Welcome to our Weber County Commission meeting. Today is Tuesday, the 27th day of March 2018. We appreciate all of you being here today and in your attendance. Our invocation this morning will be given by our IT Director, Mr. Quinn Fowers. Our Pledge of Allegiance this morning will be given by Shelley Hallisey, and our thought of the day will be given by Commissioner Gibson. Mr. Fowers.
Our Father in heaven, we're thankful that we have the opportunity today to meet in commission meeting, and we ask that might please bless our commissioners and those doing county business, that they will choose the most beneficial things for the people of the county, and that we'll be able to be guided in the direction of the county and the decisions that are made, and help us to live our lives accordingly, that we'll be able to receive inspiration to make those decisions. And we thank thee again for the beautiful land that we live in and for the opportunity that we have to serve here. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Will the audience please rise? Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So sometimes they're serious ones and sometimes they're not so serious ones. This is one of those hopefully not so serious days. I pulled out an old book that I found with one of my old stress reliever cowboy poets, a guy by the name of Baxter Black. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Baxter Black. Just out of curiosity, who has heard of Baxter Black? So maybe half. He's just a funny old cowboy poet, and I met him in person a couple of years ago and just found him to be one of the most down-to-earth, neat individuals I'd ever met. But anyway, there's a whole book here. I could read. I read quite a few of them to Shelley this morning, and some of them I probably shouldn't read, but they're a lot of fun. Just a couple little one-liners that made me smile this morning. I'd rather have an honest man's word than a crooked man's signature. Everywhere I go, 10% of the people do 90% of the work. If it takes somebody more than 10 minutes to tell you what they do for a living, they're probably self-employed. Too much of anything is almost as bad as not enough of everything. The only guy who can beat the most talented guy is the one that works the hardest. So, all over the place, but just some little food for thought today. Hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Thanks.
Thank you. Moving on to item E on our agenda is a presentation of the Seal of Service Award to Ms. Sunny Hayes, and Brian Cowan is here representing our Weber Morgan Health Department. Mr. Cowan.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'm excited and grateful to be here and take advantage of this opportunity to recognize one of our outstanding employees at the Health Department with Weber County's Seal of Service Award. Sunny is just one of the great people that we have working over at the Health Department, and it's awesome to be able to recognize her for the work she does. I'd like to take a quick moment, if it's all right, and read the nomination that got her the award. Sunny is an amazing health educator. She does a wonderful job fostering partnerships with other community agencies. She has worked with a variety of organizations to promote healthy living in our most disparate population areas and consistently works to identify ways to engage this population. Sunny is a tremendous advocate for our local trails system and has volunteered on the boards of the Ogden Trails Network and Weber Pathways, where she tries to find common ground and unifying the two organizations. Sunny's work with Bluff Trail, an inner city trail a few blocks from the health department, has made a tremendous difference. The Weber Morgan Health Department has adopted the trail for a few years ago and works tirelessly making sure the trail is free from garbage, noxious weeds, and graffiti. Sunny has even volunteered her own personal time beautifying the trail with her family. She goes above and beyond in her duties, and it's truly inspiring. Last but not least, Sunny is an important team player. She's the first volunteer when someone needs help and will be the last to leave when everything is done. She is aware that others may need help before they even ask and gets right to work to help them out. She offers creative solutions to difficult problems and is always thinking outside the box. And that nomination was submitted by one of her co-workers at the health department, Lacey McFarland. It's really nice, I think, that co-workers have this opportunity to recognize each other for the work they do. I'd like to add just a little bit. What I've noticed working with Sunny is she is the example setter for living an active, healthy lifestyle. She not only talks the talk, but she walks the walk, and is really inspiring to the rest of us at the health department to make choices towards living a healthier life. So we're really proud of her.
Wonderful. Sunny, how many words can you give us in 2.5 minutes? I'm just was teasing.
I just wanted to thank Lacey. She's right over here. Also, the support I get from Brian Bing, our health officer, as well as the whole entire health department, my health promotions team. And I just ask that Weber County, keep the efforts of wayfinding to not only our trails, but to business and other areas of interest throughout the entire Weber County, because it encourages people to be physically active and use active transportation. Physical activity is not only just for our health, but our mental health as well. And so it's my passion. So thank you.
Thank you, Sunny. Today, Sunny's award comes with we'll have you just wait there right there for a second. Lacey, good form on your part. Way to go. But it comes with a plaque that says Seal of Service Award for Sunny Hayes. It's our highest honor, going above and beyond. She's done that for the Weber Morgan Health Department. It was really encouraging when you got up and you said your little talk, that you were talking about other things, or that you have other things on your mind that are away from yourself. They're not selfish, they're giving out, and I thought that was really cool. So if this plaque, I would like to present this to you right down front, but it also comes with a $100 bill, cash, and so let's give Sunny a round of applause.
One, two, three. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to see you.
Just say Lacey knows talent when she sees it. She's her mother Leela and her dad Jeff Stevens have taught great things inside their home for a long time. She's an awesome girl. So that's great for Sunny.
She married a McFarland from West Weber too. So just saying.
Well, there you go. We'll move on, Commissioners, to item F on our agenda, our consent items. Those consent items are as follows. Item 1 is a request for approval of warrants 1386 to 1394 and 426722 and to 427003 in the amount of $698.07. Item 2, request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $134,843.69. Item 3 is a request for approval of the minutes for the meeting held on March the 20th, 2018. Item 4 is a request for approval of new business licenses. Item 5 is a request from the Weber County Community Development Department for approval to declare parcel numbers and the correction on the printed form for parcel number 23-020-002 and 23-020-003 as surplus property. Item 6 is a request from the Weber County Community Development Department for approval to declare parcel number 08-047-001 and 08-047-0045 as surplus property. Item 7 is a request for approval of a retirement agreement by and between Weber County and Edward Troy Windsor. Item 8 is a request to approve standard form of contract for the surveyor's office to access PLSS monuments on private property. And item 9 is a request for approval of polling places for the 2018 primary election. Commissioners, any comments on those, any of those consent items? Great. Lynn?
Thank you, Commissioner. We had 14 purchase orders totaling almost $135,000. The largest of these, 49% or $67,000, went to Homeland Security for chemical detector, 27% or $36,000 to the library for phone system hardware and cabinets, 9% or $11,000 to the sheriff for evidence camera system, and 7% or $10,000 to the clerk auditor for title work for the 2018 tax sale. We also had 291 checks totaling almost $474,000. The largest of these were 21% or $97,000 to the library for building maintenance, RFID kits, and books. $83,000 or 18% for employee dental and vision insurance, $71,000 or 15% Weber Housing Authority for housing payments, $63,000 or 13% to the jail for utilities, food, and maintenance, and finally $25,000 or 5% to the iSheet for utilities and concessions.
Any questions, Commissioners? I'll tell you especially that I'm really happy with Leanne Kiltz and Devin Anderson out of the Surveyor's Office that these monuments are moving forward to establish our corner markers in the county. That's fantastic. So with that,
I'll have a question real quick.
Go ahead.
I noticed you said something about evidence camera system. Is that a replacement? Are you aware of, or is that a new?
I'm not aware of the details on that one.
So
I don't know if that's a replacement system or upgrade. I don't know exactly.
It's not, just wondering. Thanks.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion we adopt the consent items as read.
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Our consent items pass unanimously. Item number G, or action items. Number 1 is Ricky Hatch, or I would imagine that's going to be you today. Oh, Scott Park, great, is a request for approval of the Weber County policy governing capital budgets.
I'm not as good looking as Mr. Hatch, but he is unavailable today and asked that I stand in for him. This policy is to help, as you recall, over the last few years, we have brought several different policies up to the Commission just to try to improve and streamline our policies and make sure we're following best practices. This specific policy will help the clerk auditor establish a more formal process for providing recommendations to the Commission during the budget cycle. It creates a committee that's made up of various members of county offices and more fully defines the scope of what this capital steering committee is going to look at. So the intent of this is to gather any large project that the county is interested in and put it through a vetting process to evaluate it based off of several different criteria that's outlined in this policy, to have a consistent recommendation throughout all the county offices to the Commission, and then the Commission would then make the ultimate decision on these recommendations during the annual budget process as to which projects get funded and what's the priority of that funding. So if you have any specific questions, I'm happy to answer it. But basically, it's just setting up a framework for this committee and providing some rough guidelines as to what we'll look at and who's going to be on that group.
Very good. Questions, commissioners?
I've got a couple questions really quickly. We've taken a lot of steps, I think, in the last several years to create better processes in the county. Is this a continuance of that? Is this the culmination of that? What are your thoughts? And would you mind going over some of those processes that we've implemented in the last little while?
You know, since I started back in, was it 2014? It's been 4 years now. Time flies. You know, Weaver County, we had a lot of good people in place, but some of our processes hadn't been updated in a while. I speak specifically of an accounting software package that we had that was built in the year 2000, which technology had vastly changed since that time. And so we were able to put in a new accounting system, which has given us a lot greater ability to control and manage financial data, to monitor contracts, to monitor projects, to make sure we're within our budgets on a real-time basis, as opposed to coming after the fact and finding out 3 or 4 months later that, you know, we had gone over budget on a project. So that's one of the things. You know, we've done other things to try to improve our electronic payments, to speed up the time that it takes us to process a check and to reduce the amount of effort it takes to process payment out and make sure that everybody's getting their money in a timely manner. We've done several other things to try to improve the budgeting process, and this, I wouldn't say it's a culmination of our improvements, because we're always looking for opportunities to improve, and hopefully we'll always be finding ways that we can improve. But to me, I'm really excited about this policy because what it does, well, just a little background. Previously, all the departments would make recommendations to the clerk auditors and requests to the clerk auditor during the budget cycle for different projects. And then we would sit down, Ricky and I, and we would do our best to evaluate these projects and put priorities to these projects based off of the information we were given, and then make a recommendation to the commission. And, you know, Ricky's a really smart guy. He's great to work with. You know, as accountants, we don't know everything. There's a lot of other factors that need to be considered. And so this committee will help us pull in the different resources that we need from the different county departments. So we want to have a representative from economic development, from the community, parks and rec, from the treasurer, from the attorney, from the, you know, all the different departments that have input for these projects, and gather good information and kind of vet those projects within ourselves and come up with a unified recommendation. So it's not one department competing against another department for county dollars, but it's a unified recommendation that then goes to the commissioners for your review and approval. So I'm excited about this policy. I think it's going to help in our long-term planning. It will make sure that hopefully make sure that, you know, we're aware of everything that's coming, that we're not going to be surprised, that we know what's going to come in 3 years, what's going to come in 5 years from our capital requests, you know, so there's not new things that just spring up and we have to scramble to try to figure out how to fund them.
Yes, this is a part of an ongoing process assessment to make sure that public dollars are being spent appropriately. One of the areas that you approached me on over the last 2 years were change orders and other changes to projects that were being circumvented through the system to the tune of $500,000 or $1 million. What steps have we taken to eliminate that from ever happening again?
So that would go back specifically to the accounting system. When we had this old accounting system, I really had no way to track payments on contracts or payments on projects. We had basically a check writing program. And any department that wanted to monitor whether they were on budget with their specific contracts had to keep an Excel spreadsheet on their own. So putting this accounting system in place and putting in some modern accounting controls has really allowed us to prevent or detect these issues on a timely basis. We had a contract or a payment that was requested to be made just a little while ago that we didn't have a contract, we didn't have any authorization to do it, so we just didn't make the payment. And we're still working with the vendor to make sure that, you know, we get everything in the row before we make those payments. But previously, you know, payments like that would go through if a department had signed off on them, and there would be no accounting countywide or at a higher level to make sure that, you know, we're following our budget.
The reason I bring this up is that this is a process, and the end of this process, and why I say this is almost the end of the road, is now we're starting a process that brings more eyes to the table looking at projects. And these projects are 5, 10, 15, 20, 45 million dollar projects. And this creates that process where we're having our treasurer look at the bonding, we're having our attorney's office look at the legality of it. We're having commissioners look at the need for it. We're having Ricky Hatch's office look at the funding for it. And we're creating a prioritization list. So projects have to go through a very vetted process before they get put on our prioritization list. And nothing can be snuck in there and be funded. And then poor Mr. Bond has to find some type of bonding for it in 5 or 6 months, which is extremely difficult. Whether they're transportation projects or whether they're building projects or whether they're purchasing of land projects, it all goes through a very vetted process nowadays that has not happened before, as long as I've been here in the county. And I cannot tell you how happy I am to see this finally come into fruition. We've worked on this for 18 months to get it to this point, and it's how we should be running this county. So I want to say kudos and thank you for the work that Mr. Bond, that Mr. Hatch, and that you've put in on this project. So thank you very much.
Mr. Bond, do you have any comments with regards to this?
Just two. One is I appreciate you as commissioners and for what you do, and for your, I hope this is an added tool to help you make really good decisions. And two, if you pass this, I look very forward to bringing that skill of those people that are on this committee to the table, and I think you had a great group to work with, so I look forward to having this work. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes, sir. I just want to express my gratitude as well, Scott. I think that anytime, as we talked about the accounting software itself, anytime we go through a major change like that, it's going to be painful. And I know that with our different departments, it has been painful at times to get that to change the way we've done things. But as a whole, I think it has been a very positive step. And I'm a big fan of this change as well. You know, I've said from the beginning of my time here that when making financial decisions, you ought to trust the financial experts. And to me, there are too many times when political decisions are made and calculations are made without understanding the full long-term ramifications of those decisions. And I mean, it you know, with 3 commissioners that have different priorities, it happens all the time when someone you know, has an idea, maybe a great idea, but in so choosing that idea, it eliminates another idea from the budgeting process, and that becomes the challenge. And we've had some surprises even within the last couple of weeks or couple of months with you know, with some proposals from you know, for partnerships from Ogden and other areas, you know, where we just haven't had the information to make good, solid decisions, and we shouldn't be expected to make those without having a full vetting of those projects and the long-term financial ramifications of those discussions. And so I love bringing, you know, bringing these people together in an organized way, where financing can be discussed, and just the long-term picture. I mean, I've had really good luck and really good results with when I really get all the information from Ricky, John, Scott, the experts, the financial experts, that we have good results in the end. And so I think that you have wanted to be a strong part of this process, but there just hasn't been much form around it. So I think this is a good place to start, and hopefully it makes good sense going forward. So thank you. I appreciate it. I'll make a motion if you're ready.
Just about. I just want to make sure that we have in the ordinance, in the event of an emergency or an unexpected expense, that we're still covered. Those things can always come up, emergencies, acts of God, different things. In fact, I guess if we're planning the framework around it, there'll already be on the table a pool for those kinds of things. So can I just, as much as you're making the presentation, can you just reassure us that we've got that in place as well?
We do. Each year we budget approximately $300,000 in a contingency fund, which is basically for unexpected things, things we don't know about. But we also have a healthy fund balance, about $15 million. That's allowed us to maintain our AAA bond rating, but that also means that if there is a major disaster and we need access to that money, now we don't want to just go out and spend it. We would still do our due diligence to make sure that we're spending the money wisely, but we do have that fund balance that is there and available if it is needed for an emergency.
Perfect. Great. I wanted that set on camera so that, because I knew about that, but I wanted everybody to hear that. That just shows fiscal responsibility. Thank you.
Could I just add to that? I think along with that, it is the thing that's impressive about this is it's kind of like the Full Disclosure Act in my mind, and because the reality is the commissioners still have that ultimate responsibility and duty of expending county funds, and so it wouldn't be a wise thing, but the reality is they could do something different than this committee recommended because of extenuating circumstances or whatever. But you know, so that responsibility still lies with the members of the elected commission. But to me, this, I mean, again, I've never, I can't remember making a bad decision that was fully vetted and recommended by these financial experts, and that's what this gives us, is a framework in which we can really understand everything and then make the best decision based on that.
Chair.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
One thing that, as I have read through this, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. We had started this process informally. We actually have stopped a project that we couldn't find the proper return on investment or justification for, and it's pending and stopped right now. Will we have opportunity through this to continue that process through other projects that we're in the process today, looking at or developing, or are we just going to start from today forward? I think that we need, as first action order, look at the projects we're presently developing and or building and go through that process with those today, and then move to our upcoming projects. Is that what we're looking at doing through this?
That's our intent, is
Okay.
to go through these projects that we've already started, kind of use those as our dry run, you know, because we've already made decisions on those, but we're going to run those through the process and have a good established framework spreadsheet, for example, to go through and evaluate. So we actually can get the, you know, our I's dotted and our T's crossed, and just kind of make sure we have the process, the paperwork formally documented.
Thank you. Thanks for clarifying. That's all I have, Chair.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the policy governing capital budgets as presented.
A motion by Commissioner Gibson and a second by Commissioner Ebert. There's no more discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Hatch, who's not here. Thank you. Mr. Christensen, request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and the Utah Department of Natural Resources, Division of Wildlife Resources, to help control Phragmites in the wetland areas throughout the county.
Go ahead, by all means.
Taylor, this is your first rodeo making a presentation, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is. I appreciate you guys letting me be here.
Now, do you want to say that now or when you're done with the presentation?
Well, maybe I should wait until after. I might not
Welcome.
appreciate it so much
No,
after.
it's great. Good.
So what I have here is it's a cooperative agreement. I'm seeking your approval to be involved in this. The Utah Department of Natural Resources, Division of Wildlife Resources, they want to help us in controlling the Phragmites in the county. They're not asking for any special projects or anything different. They just want to help us out and reimburse us for some of the money we spend. So if there's any questions, I'll gladly answer them.
Terrific. Commissioners, I'll entertain questions.
No question. I have a motion.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion we approve the contract by and between Weber County and the Utah Department of Natural Resources, Division of Wildlife Resources to help control Phragmite in the wetland areas throughout the county.
I'll second.
With a thank you.
We have a motion and a second. No more discussion heard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Taylor, I want to I commend you for your courage to get up here and do this. Sometimes speaking in public can be frightening, and you've done a good job.
All right, well, thank you.
Thanks.
I'm sure it won't be the last time.
Good. Thank you.
Be a lot better if you stop it and let you sit down, huh?
Perfect. Ms. Stewart, a request for approval of a local transportation agreement by and between Weber County and the Harrisville City for the Larson Lane Phase 2 project. Brooke Stewart.
That's correct. Thank you, Commissioners. Good morning.
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 So this is a local transportation funding agreement between Weber County and Harrisville City for the Larson Lane Phase 2 project. Phase 1, as you might remember, was the intersection at Washington Boulevard and Larson Lane where they installed a left-hand turn lane and moved the signals around. So this project, Phase 2, is to widen the remaining length of Larson Lane from Washington Boulevard down to Wall Avenue. They're intending to widen it and add a center turn lanes and 2 left-hand turn lanes, which will drastically improve the functionality and the classification of the road. So this project will include a travel lane each direction, shoulders, curbs, gutter, sidewalk, park strips, and parking on both sides of the street. And the city is contributing $106,000 as a local match, and they've received a little over $3.3 million from WFRC and STP funds. They're requesting $597,000 in corridor preservation funds for the right-of-way acquisition. And this request went through WACOG and the Commission in December and was approved on the priority list for 2017.
Terrific. Discussion pertaining to item 3 on our action items, Commissioners.
I'm happy to see the Larson Lane move forward. That's been it's been a trouble spot for a while, so it's exciting to see it move forward.
Yeah, it's a great project.
And just a little more broadly on these transportation projects, I again want to thank you for your work, Brooke, with this transportation committee, subcommittee, and the WACOG. It's good to see these cities in the county taking a proactive role in transportation, bringing these projects forward, and working with one another to prioritize projects and fund them. And this is one of those, I think, that was, like all on the project list, were well thought out and funded, and I don't see any reason why it shouldn't go forward. So thank you.
Very good. Any more discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we approve the contract between Weber County and Harrisville City for Larson Lane.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gibson, a second by Commissioner Ebert. No more discussion. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Or Ms. Stewart. Peterson. Sorry. Mr. Stewart. Sorry.
I was going to say.
Don't have to, don't really. Okay. Sorry, Brooke. Brooke, you're on again for item number 4, which is a request for approval of local transportation agreement by and between Weber County and Harrisville City to establish terms related to the 1100 North project.
Correct. So this is another Harrisville City project. This is 1100 North. They're proposing to complete the section of road that is not finished currently on 1100 North from Washington Boulevard down to 140 East, and then from Highway 89 up to 140 West is complete, and there's about a 640-foot section that is not constructed because there hasn't been any development yet. So they're proposing to widen that road and construct curb gutter, sidewalk and storm drain to match the current facility, just to create that link, that extra link between Washington Boulevard and Wall Avenue. It'll help to decrease the traffic throughout the neighborhoods and on Larson Lane, so it'll help improve the functionality and take some of that congestion away from Larson Lane as well. So they are requesting $121,440 in corridor preservation funds and $297,440 in sales tax for the construction. This project also went through WACOG and the Commission on the priority list for 2017.
Terrific. Any discussion, Commissioners?
Make a motion then that we approve local transportation agreement between Weber County and Harrisville City for the 1100 North project.
Motion by Commissioner Gibson.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Ebert. Great. No more discussion. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Stewart. Item number 5, Mr. Ferrario, a request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and DMW Industries, Inc. for renewal of the Ogden Mustangs contract. Way to go, Todd.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
This is our third contract with DMW, locally obviously known as the Ogden Mustangs. This is a 5-year contract. Been a great partner at the ice rink. An example is last weekend we had playoff games. We had 4,615 people over 3 days. So that's ticket revenue, concessions revenue. Good thing for a facility that size. They're our third largest partner. So it's a good thing for the county. As with any partnership, there's bandwidth we expend to do that, but it looks to me like this contract probably won't go 5 years. They're in talks with the next league up to make a move, not out of our facility, but up in leagues. And that would probably take a little bit of a rewrite, probably a redo of the contract. Basically, it changes the amount of games they would have. It would increase it by about 10 per year. So again, that would be good for us. So, any questions?
Does that mean that you feel that they're being successful in the fact that they're looking to, that there's a possibility of moving up in the league?
It's probably twofold. First off, they are a successful team. They've been in the top 3 in their league for the last number of years. Also, they have the largest fan base out of any team in their league. It's pretty impressive. We had a couples that were here from Canada this last weekend whose kids play for the Colorado Eagles, and they were blown away. It was loud. Probably 75% of the fans walk in with Mustang merchandise on. And, it's a beautiful venue. You see the mountains out the back, and they were like, wow. Their kids don't like to play there because it's loud, but in the other way, they're like, wow, look at the fans. I mean, 200 people or 2,000 people in that building, quite loud. So I think it's a combination of atmosphere, the ownership of the team, and the success that they're looking to move forward. And that upper league is, the reason they haven't jumped yet is they need travel partners. That is a bigger footprint than the league they're in. So they have 2 new teams in Alaska that are joining that league, and they have 3 that are interested within our area, not locally, but that could be travel partners. Because unlike the league now, they can play the same team 3 times. The upper leagues don't do that. Usually they'll play a Friday night game against one team, travel a little further, play a Saturday night game. That other team would do the opposite. So it's just a little bit of scheduling issues, but that's what we're looking at. It'll be exciting.
This has a lot to do with Lori Miller, doesn't it?
Correct. She is the owner.
She's done a great job with not just perpetuating these teams here and around, but also attracting the fan base and the talent. What a great partner with our community.
Yeah, she's pretty solid. She owns a house here now, and she's here for a good number of months during the wintertime promoting and working with the team. And you'll notice all the banners that are up downtown with the Ogden Mustangs, and it has definitely become a part of the community.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
When you talk about success, Todd, I guess you can measure that in wins and losses, but
yeah.
I'm trying to measure it in this case based on our working relationship with the team, the facility, how they feel about how things are going, and it seems like you feel confident with where we are there as well.
Yeah, like I said, when you have somebody that's in your house, if you will, and they're a big part of our building, they have a permanent locker room, they have offices we rent to them, there will always be cooperative, work that needs to be done, but they've been there 8 years and grown over 8 years, and it's a good relationship. There's a lot of junior teams in rinks that are really contentious with the owners of the facility, some private, some municipalities. So I will say that on both sides, I think it's been a win-win. And, we look at the community, we look at the relationship, we also, that great new program we have, we open it up and see how the dollars are doing, and it sure helps. So,
thank you.
Great.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate your efforts.
If there's no more questions, Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the contract between DMW Industries and Weber County.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for that. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Mr. Ferrario, number 6 is a request for approval of the contract by and between Weber County and Traders Row for concessions at the Fort Buenaventura. Something coming up, I think, rather quickly.
We do. We have the rendezvous that starts Thursday. Publicly, we'll start Friday. I think last that I heard, we had 550 students coming Thursday. That's a school's day. So everybody is set up by Wednesday night, and they run that whole day free of charge for school groups to come in.
What's a rendezvous?
It's a bunch of guys in buckskin.
Well, now we know how to throw our axes.
We do. We do. It's a great event, and probably the most well-suited for the fort, if you think about the history of the fort. And when you look, this weekend's supposed to be beautiful, thankfully, because it's a little wet. You know, they have all their canvas up and their teepees up, and it's a remarkable thing to see. And we'll see well over 3,000 people over the weekend. It's a nice kickoff to our season. Easter's very early this year, so we have crews there as we speak, and I will join them when I'm done with number 7. But it should be a great weekend.
Sorry, asking loaded questions here, but have there been any improvements to the fort or Fort Buenaventura through the winter that we should hear about or just take note in this meeting?
There have been many. First off, we dredged the pond. We took 840 loads of sediment out of the pond. Which
how many loads?
840.
10
ton, dump truck loads out. We built a second sediment pond. That water is fed from the Weber River. There is a single sediment pond. We added a second sediment pond. We've worked with DNR and DWR. This is a little bit of a beta test because they have some sediment issues in other areas, and they're seeing if the staggered ponds will help. We've added bedding for fish, not only on the banks, but we've bouldered, we've buried some trees, and we've put some artificial fish habitat. And the first 1,000 rainbows are in the water, and we will be stocked with bass, wipers, catfish, and bluegill also this year. It will be officially a community fishery. It's on their list now, which means it will be stocked and maintained cooperatively from here forward. See, what else did we do? We are putting in a disc golf course. So there is 18 holes of disc golf going around the exterior of the park, which is good. It's forced our hand to clean up some areas that were buried in the trees. And so we have had crews out there for the last month and a half, and the Utah Open group that is working with us has had volunteer crews out there. So although they are not in yet, you can start seeing the whole shape up around the outside, and that will open the last weekend in April for the grand opening. And by the numbers they see in our community at disc golf, we expect to have somewhere around 20,000 people use that course per year. And we already have gone out to the PDGA, which is their professional group in Vegas, and we're bidding on Worlds to come in 2020, and the Utah Open AM and Pro will come next year to that course. So,
Pebble Beach Golf Course in California has a signature hole towards the end. Beautiful, goes over the water. Have you ever
17.
seen that?
I've played it.
Anything with the...
You sound like you've been there.
Just trying to get you some airtime.
So number 18, it will not be this way for everyday play, but on tournaments, we actually have a 397-foot shot across water, across the pond, to a kind of an amphitheater green where the basket will be great for cameras, and it will be a great spectator finishing hole, especially for something like Worlds. And the players actually shoot right from the edge of the water all the way across, and it will be pretty spectacular. Probably not the hardest hole on the golf course, but the prettiest hole. There's a couple in there. We have an over 700-foot par 5 that winds through that will probably be the most challenging. I threw it the other day, it took me 12, so I guess I'm not playing in the tournament, but we'll leave it at that. So we'll see how you guys do. We do our directors meeting in May. We will throw some discs. So.
Take me twice that many to hit a golf ball in a hole. So
I do better if I just carry it from one end to the other, but that's all right.
Commissioners, I know I peppered Todd today, but are there any other questions?
I probably should tell you what the actual contract is. So this one is actually for Traders Row, which is the gift shop that's located within the historic fort. This is a renewal. Sue has been there many years, Sue Barker. Really, the only difference in this year's contract is we're limiting some of the winter time. If we have heavy snow load, and that is her quiet season, I don't think it's fiscally responsible for us to plow in January if there's 2 feet of snow. We spent 21 hours, not this January, the prior one, 21 hours of my guys' time to plow the driveways for a return of $1, and I believe it was 87 cents on our portion of revenue from that. So that's really the only change is we will open it when we have a group in the winter time, or if it's clear, then it will be open, but that's really the change. So.
Any questions, commissioners? Then I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion we approve the contract by and between Weber County and Traders Row for concessions at Fort Beneventura.
And I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ebert, second by Commissioner Gibson. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Number 7, Todd, request for approval of the contract by and between Weber County and the Ogden Friends of Acoustic Music for the 12th annual O-Foam Music Festival.
If I had time, I'd tell you all the things we're doing at the fort, but I'll just get to this one. So this is just the annual O-Foam concert. It's a wonderful venue. They're a returning customer. We work closely with them with not only ticket sales, with camping, group sites. It's a fabulous venue, and it is packed. And each year we're trying to better the experience for the community that comes down. It's a pretty diverse group that comes to this concert series. The contract's very, very similar to what you've read in the past. Each year we get a few little tweaks on how we're dividing up camping and VIP spaces and some of the auxiliary activities that go on with it. But this is just one more event down at the fort that has been in success for many years. So.
Wonderful. Any discussion, commissioners?
I just say really quickly, I think from the presentation we had in item number 1, there are events and there are services provided from the county that have a little more than a financial impact. There is this community growth and the community feel that they bring, and I think that the fort and what you've done the last 6 to 18 months has contributed to that. So I want to say congratulations on the amazing work that's been done there, but really what you're creating is a community that has investment into that Fort Beneventura, and so that's what communities really are at the end of the day. It's people. And so thank you for all of your vision and all the work that you put into this. So thank you, Todd.
Thank you.
No other comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Move the approve the contract between Weber County and O-Foam.
Motion by Commissioner Gibson, second by Commissioner Ebert. Call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Ferrario.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Ms. Graham, a request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and the State of Utah Department of Wildlife Resources, or DWR, Hunter Education Instructor Training. Jennifer Graham.
Good morning. Yes, and it's funny that DNR has been already brought up twice in this agenda, but this just goes to show that the partnership that not only apparently our department has with DNR, but out in the West Weber Phragmites battle. So this is just our attempt to be a partner back to DWR in allowing them to use some facilities at the Golden Spike to do some hunter education instructor training. We're looking at a total value of about $125 to $175 of facilities. There will be catering revenue for this, so I would just recommending the support of this contract to support DWR and DNR.
Terrific. Comments, commissioners?
I'll make a motion.
Great. Entertain one.
Make a motion that we approve the contract by between Weber County and the State of Utah Department of Wildlife Resources for hunter education instructor training.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ebert, a second by Commissioner Gibson. No other comments, or I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. And item
Thank you.
number 9, Ms. Ebert, a request for approval of a first reading of an ordinance of the Board of County Commissioners of Weber County governing parking.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
About a year and a half ago, the county did some work on passing an ordinance on related to parking in the county, in the unincorporated areas. And this has worked out really well for us. We've also worked with our IT department and our treasurer's office to allow the acceptance of payments for these citations online, and that's worked out really well. But as we hit the winter season, we realized that there were a couple of sections in Weber County's ordinance that fell in another area that were still related to parking. So we worked with our county attorney's office, and Brian Barron helped us to remove those sections from the area that they were in and incorporate them into this section that was revised on parking in the administrative process. So I am here today to ask for your approval for an ordinance change. This is the first reading to just essentially move those sections of the ordinance so that all of the areas related to parking are in the same ordinance within the county ordinance system.
So the lines that are struck in the document we have are just moved to another area?
Correct.
In the same document?
So the areas that were removed, that we're asking for the removal, are in section 32, section 32.8-3, 32.8-4, and 32.9-1, and 32.10-1, and we're going to move those into section 42, chapter 4. So we're just essentially moving those. There was a little bit of wording change, just to clarify some of the winter parking, et cetera, just to clarify and make that a little bit easier to understand. But essentially, it was just moving them from one section to the other.
So just to make sure I understand this, that they're only showing as struck because they're struck from section 32 put into chapter 4.
Yes.
For consistency. Got
yes.
it. Thank you.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Any other questions? Then I'll entertain a motion.
Number on that, Fatima? No, because it's first reading. Okay, I'll move approval of the first reading of the parking ordinance of Weber County.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gibson, a second by Commissioner Ebert. No other discussion. Call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. First reading passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
An item of information, item number 11 is held, but item 10, Mr. Barron, a request for approval of the contract by and between Weber County, Sean Condi, to provide legal counsel to indigent people.
Commissioners, we have Mike Bowis here, who is our individual defense coordinator, and he's going to present this contract.
Good morning.
Good to see you, Mike.
Welcome, Mr. Bowis. Nice to have you here.
Nice to see you too. Hope you're all doing well.
You too.
So this is a contract. Mr. Condi was awarded a 90-day probationary contract 3 months ago. We had an attorney who left us to pursue other interests, and so took applications and recommended the contract be awarded to Mr. Condi for 90 days just to make sure that it was going to work out. We have had some experiences in the past where individuals who appeared to be competent and were competent in some areas, but you get them into court, and it's a different issue, and unable to adapt. Mr. Condi, while he is young, he's very sharp, he's highly motivated, he's where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there, and is not overwhelmed in court. A very sharp young man. He's doing a good job. I think he's going to be a good asset. He has been a good asset. And so we're presenting to the commission a regular contract that will take it through the end of 2019. The pay is consistent with the pay structure that was established at the end of 2016. And I think he'll do a great job.
Great. Commissioners, any discussion on this line item?
I just say really quickly, I want to express from the commission's perspective our appreciation for the relationship we have with indigent services. That's not always the case in all counties, and it's because the individuals like yourself that we have conversations with and we enter into contracts, and we appreciate your patience. But more than that, we appreciate the relationships that we have. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You've been good to work with. And despite the changes, Commissioner Harvey, it's been a year already?
15 months.
15 months. You haven't aged any.
Yeah, really?
No. Well, I'm not wearing my glasses, so.
Thank you.
No, it's been good. I appreciate all your help on the issues that occasionally arise, and appreciate your understanding of issues that could be complicated for some people. So thank you very much.
Commissioners, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract by and between Weber County and Sean Connie to provide legal counsel to indigent individuals.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Eber, a second by Commissioner Gibson. If there's no more discussion, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Bowes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
you.
Have a good day.
Public comments. We now to the public comment portion of our agenda. If those of you who would like to come forward, please state your name, and you have, if you'd limit your comments to 3 minutes, we'd appreciate it.
Don't be shy. Come on up. Down.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, Virginia Hernandez Reza, and you want my address? Or where I live in Ogden.
We've got it on record. Thank you, Virginia.
Okay. All right. I just have 2 questions. My first question, let me see. Okay, item on G, number 1. Could we get information? It was a good presentation. I really liked what he said. I get this information, give it out to the community. I interact with Weber and Davis County. But where could I get the information? He said something about a board or committee that was selected. They got individuals on that. Where can we get that information, who they are?
We can get that. We can get that to you right after. There, you can go to Winning and Weber online, or you can hear that all again on the Facebook page. This is usually just comments, though we don't usually respond, but
Sure.
we can get with you after and share those.
Oh, yeah,
No problem,
okay.
'cause we appreciate you sharing that with your folks.
Okay, and you said I can go to your office after this meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the other question.
Let me just really quickly, just for Virginia.
Sure.
It's listed from A to I, and it's listed by position, like treasurer. You have the county attorney, the clerk auditor. Those are elected offices. So a majority of those are listed here, but the individuals are the office. So it would be Ricky Hatch, John Bond,
Okay.
And then the other individuals, we would have to pick someone from other departments and offices as necessary. We haven't done that yet,
Okay.
so we'll go through that process and then post those.
That's all available online, though, too. So trying to be very transparent. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. Well, we don't know that, so I'm asking. And I'm glad you said very transparent. My other question here is number 10. Okay, he was talking about a contract, and they selected Sean Condy to provide legal counsel to indigent people. This contract, where could I pull that up and get more information what this is about? Or maybe I should just contact them. Okay, and see, I've worked quite a few years from 1975 to 1985 in attorneys' offices. I don't know if you know John Hutchison, Stratford, and a couple of other. I worked with them in the indigent lawyers, but it was called legal aid. So the indigent attorney would be like a public defender. Okay, that's what that is, right? Okay, so I can just go there and get more information about what took place with this contract, right?
Very good.
Okay, yeah, I can do that, right?
Absolutely. Virginia, all
Yes.
of that is posted online in the agenda, so just go to
Oh.
Winning and Weber or Weber County.
Yes.
And you can pull up the agenda. You can go to item number 10. There'll be a hyperlink.
Oh, okay.
You click on the hyperlink, it will pull that contract up for you to read.
Oh, that's good to know. I'm not on the computers, but I do have a person that is sharp to do this.
It's good to have people.
I do outreach. Yeah, okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any others who'd like to come forth at this time? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for item I.
Move that we adjourn.
Second.
We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.